Welcome to another jam-packed episode of the Sports Card Nation podcast, the show that brings you all the important news from the sports card hobby. We'll have some debates, opinions, new release schedules, and info. Plus, we'll also discuss the sports that so directly affect the hobby we all love. We'll mix in an occasional gambling tip or two, throw in some life stuff, and bring you great guest interviews from the hobby and sports dignitaries. And if you're good listeners, we may even give away a few things now and then. Now, here's the guy who wanted the cards and not the gum, John Newman.
On and on to the break the dawn. On and on to the break the dawn. Let me introduce myself.
Sports Card Nation. Episode 39 in full effect. I'm John Newman. Welcome back. Hopefully it's not your first time. And if it is, welcome to you as well. We're a weekly podcast. We come out each week we release on Fridays. We're on 10 platforms. We do giveaways, have great guests, interviews, and speaking of guest interviews, we have two on today's program. And today's program is going to have a north of the border feel to it. Both my guests hail from the great country of Canada. My first guest, Stu Stone, filmmaker, actor, producer from 5-7 Films. He's going to be back. He's been on the show before. He's coming back again to talk about his film, Jack of All Trades, and things about the hobby. He, as you may already know, hails from Toronto, Canada. And my second guest on the show today, Mr. Richard Black, is the proprietor of Perfect Fit Sleeves, a product I use heavily. I love. I told him I love his product. I'd love him to come on the show. He's agreed to do that. I'd love him to sponsor the show. He's agreed to do that, at least for a little bit. So he's going to tell you a little bit how Perfect Fit Sleeves was born, how it got started, and what services they provide. They make just what it sounds like. Sleeves that top loaders, mag tights, graded cards fit into and seal up, and the fit is exact. It's smooth, it's silky, it's crystal clear, and it's a great product. And if you were like me and used those team bags before where they get all scratched up and wrinkly and looks like a really bad shirt that needs to be ironed, those days can be over, as they are for me. I love this product, and he's going to be on and tell you about how he came up with the solution to what I believe is a lot of collectors and hobbyist problems. And Richard and his company hail from British Columbia, Canada, right near the border of the United States, and he's going to tell you why being near the border is actually an advantage to him when it comes to shipping to the States, and why you can get his great product without paying that exorbitant Canadian shipping to the U.S. price. He's got a legal loophole, and it's good. It's not even a loophole, but it's got a little bit of an advantage. He's going to tell you about it during his interview. So, two great guests. We continue to try to bring you great guests with great content. Hopefully we're doing a bang-up job in that department. Again, 39 episodes strong as we approach the big 50. As I said prior, on the 50th episode, we are going to give away a $50 bill to one lucky listener. So let's not wait any longer. Let's get this show started.
Fired up to be here today. It's pretty cool. Pretty damn cool. Woo!
Sports Card Nation Podcast is your weekly hobby and sports podcast, now on 10 platforms: iTunes, Google Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Radio Public, Anchor, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Castbox, and Overcast. Listened to in over 26 countries globally, Sports Card Nation Podcast is one of the most interactive podcasts around, providing great content, giveaways, and some of the hobby's best interview guests without time constraints. Thousands can't be wrong. We want to thank all the wonderful listeners around the world, all our great guests, and our tremendous sponsors for making us what we are today. As always, without you, there is no us.
All right, it's time for What's Crackin'. All right, let's talk about the hobby happenings here in the What's Cracking segment. Let's start off with the release calendar. Before we get to the release calendar, let's talk about some products that just came out on the market. Topps Archives Baseball, Topps Heritage High Number. That's doing very well. A lot of variations in action, nicknames, short prints. So that product is pretty hot right now. And Bowman Sterling's not just out, but really continuing to do well after a 5-year hiatus. I did open some, like I said I was going to on the last episode. I did okay, nothing too crazy, but I do love the product. It is a little pricey, and it has went up in price since its release date. I do have a little bit left that I didn't open, and I think I may kind of move it or do some, live personals or whatnot with it. But I really like the product. It's a product that I'm probably going to scour the secondary market and buy singles of, and maybe, of rookies and that sort of thing. Maybe autos that are priced too low. But coming out on the market here on the 23rd, which is today, the day of the show here, 2019 Leaf Pop Century. On the 28th, which is next week, 2018-19 Panini Immaculate Basketball. 2019 Topps 5-Star Baseball. 2019 Panini Absolute Football. 2019 Topps Star Wars Skywalker Saga. 2019 Topps I Love Fuzzy Llamas box. I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. On August 30th, 2019, Leaf Trinity Football. And that's it for the upcoming week. Let's talk about a couple future products coming out. Topps Dynasty coming out in November. Much like the previous Dynasty release, one patch auto per box. I've seen the spec sheets on these. I gotta be honest with you, I love the Dynasty line, but the spec sheets and the pictures of the 2019 version, I'm not impressed. It looks like, to me, it's hard to tell. Again, it's not live, but these are just spec pictures on cell sheets. But the design is pretty plain looking. Doesn't knock my socks off. It almost looks like, other than the sweet patches, it almost looks like it's a game used card that would come out of like Big League. So I guess I'll give more of an opinion once it's out and released. But by cell sheets, kind of disappointing with what it looks like. So we'll see if it's any different being live and seeing it up close and personal. But just on the pictures, I'm not impressed with 2019 Topps Dynasty. Another product coming out in September, so shortly here, it's going to be an online-only exclusive from Panini. It will be their Panini Black Football. It will contain, obviously, game-used cards, patch autos. Obviously, from the black line, it's going to be predominantly a dark colored card. Again, from the cell sheet, this is a product that looks pretty cool. I believe there are 7 cards per pack with parallels and all that. It's a product on my list. I'm planning to open probably a couple boxes and obviously look for some singles after I open a couple boxes as well. That will be in September. It will be online only, so direct from Panini. So it's a Panini direct online only product. So a lot of news on individual cards breaking some auction records on auction houses and eBay. On eBay, a Luka Doncic Nebula 1 of 1 auto brought $40,177. A 2009 Bowman Chrome Draft Mike Trout Orange Refractor number to 25 auto rookie BGS 9.5 brought $186,960. A previous one brought almost the exact same amount, so that looks like that's where that one sets at the moment. A 2013 Bowman Chrome Chris Bryant Superfractor BGS 9.5 1 of 1 brought $111,930. And I gotta be honest with you, that one surprises me a little bit. Not that Chris Bryant's terrible, but he's kind of cooled off statistically in the last few years, and there are certain people that are just wondering if he'll live up to the original hype. But whoever bid $111,000 probably believes he will. So that one sold. A 2000 Playoff Contenders Championship Rookie Ticket Auto of Tom Brady, graded PSA 9, brought $55,350. And a 1993 Upper Deck SP Derek Jeter SGC 10 brought $51,660. Nice to see SGC on the leaderboard on as far as money brought in on graded cards. And obviously everyone's probably pretty familiar with the Jeter SP rookies and the condition sensitive, and SGC has been known to be kind of tough graders. So an SGC 10 brought almost $52K. That's a big number for a card that's still sort of readily available. Maybe not, and obviously in that grade, but you know, we see people open 93 SP on camera still, and you know, if they could hit something that's in prime shape, you know, you're maybe looking at a $50,000 card at this point. So this just happened today. The 2018-19 Panini Contenders draft picks, first off the line from Panini, was supposed to go online sale this morning, and they had some technical difficulties, and no one was apparently allowed to purchase it. They offered an apology and said that they'll repost it for sale with a 24-hour window. A lot of people were obviously upset, and understandably so. You know, Zion Williamson hype is being blamed as the culprit, and I'm sure it definitely is. But you know, Panini has to expect this. This isn't their first rodeo. They've done these before. So I point the finger a little bit at them, or a lot of bit at them, if you will. I think you gotta, you know, preemptive some of this stuff. You know, we could make this a debate on whether that's the right system, the way they do it with bot issues and different things like that. I'm sure, you know, the powers that be in that corporate office maybe can sit down and come up with a better way to pre-sale first off the line. Let's be honest, it's a money grab. You know, truth be told, anyone that buys, I don't want to say anyone, but probably 90% of the first off the line boxes that are purchased to flip in the resale and make a profit. And I mean, I'm not even saying there's anything wrong with that, but when that's the what's driving the sales, then there's going to be some underhanded stuff. And I'd like to see Panini do something better than the system they have now. And this isn't the first time they've had issues with the first off the line product. And so, you know, again, another sort of black eye amongst other ones as well. They really got to try to figure some things out, in my honest opinion. All right, joining me for the second time on the show. Glad to have him back here on the Sports Car Nation podcast guest line. His movie, Jack of All Trades, last time he was on, it wasn't on Netflix yet. That has changed, thankfully and fortunately, and it's doing very well. And there's very few people in the hobby, I think, that haven't seen the movie now. And if you haven't, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go and watch it, especially since it's on Netflix. It's a lot more accessible to you. And he's been gracious enough to join us again and talk a little bit more about the success of the movie and maybe a little more in detail about certain parts of the movie than the first time around. So without further ado, Stu, welcome back.
Hey, man. Thank you for the introduction. Great to be back. And, the big thing that has changed, aside from the movie being on Netflix now, which is huge, obviously, is that, you and I got to meet at the National.
Yes, and I'll be honest with you, and I'm not just lip service. It was one of the things I was looking forward to on my list of things I was going to do. I told my son, hey, I'm going to get to meet him, and he was kind of excited for me. And like you said, that was a big moment for me, and being a fan of the movie.
No, it was great. You're great, and it was just a really cool experience overall, and. Seeing some familiar faces walking around the convention and seeing people that were in the film, and then meeting guys like you who have supported the film so much. It was just like a love fest all around.
Well, and deservedly so. I mean, the movie, for the most part, is well received, and as it should be. I know there's, you're going to have critics. No matter what movie, you're always going to have that side of the aisle. Some people complain that they didn't like the fact that you brought some family stuff in. I'm the opposite side of the coin. I think that's really what made the movie. That was kind of the icing on the cake, as they say, and I appreciated that. Took a lot of guts to do that, Stu. A lot of people, don't like to share stuff like that or let the world know some things they're going through, yet you put that out there for everyone to see, and I don't think that should be unnoticed or unsaid that to do that, knowing that thousands, if not millions, of people are potentially going to see that and know how. Let me ask you this: how we saw the scene where you were even debating meeting your dad. How close did you come to saying no?
Well, I mean, I said no a lot of times. It's like how close did I come to saying yes was more, I guess, listen, as soon as, once you make a decision to go for it, man, you got to go all the way, right?
Yeah.
And, once, like, the line had been crossed and the lines had been blurred, so to speak, that, this is happening now. And there's an opportunity to do this. It was the timing was. It seemed like this is what I'm supposed to do, right? I was just following, sort of like the path that was unfolding before me. It was definitely a tough decision. I definitely, at this stage, I still have mixed feelings over the whole thing. But I will say that people don't. I don't know if we talked about this last time I was on your show, but going and meeting, and sitting down and talking to my dad and doing that was already like a crazy thing to do. It's even crazier to do it with like a full camera crew of people who know you in the room with you. It's even crazier to know that you're going to have to. It's not just that one time. Now you have to like see it a million times in the edit, and you have to every time the movie shows, and now everybody sees it. It's like a moment in time that is now stays with me forever, right? Whether I like it or not at this point.
Yeah.
And it's like people in the public now saw all that shit, right? So it's like it's like now it's done. There's no turning back from it. And I guess, I mean, like you said, it's like the thing that made the movie really kind of a more special kind of piece. And for all the people, just to scratch the surface of your point about the people who are the critics of the film, which there definitely are, those people who said, oh, it should be about just baseball cards, or where's the baseball cards? Like, I think I've said this to you before, but, that's what I started out to do. I wanted to make a movie about baseball cards. I was like them. And, when you're making a movie, crazy shit happens.
Yeah.
This is what happened. Every great documentary that I've ever seen has a crazy left-hand turn that I didn't see coming. Every single one. And I can see why, because it's like the film gods kind of know you're making a movie, and shit just happens. I'm about to shoot another movie in September, and I'm anticipating the same thing. Like, something crazy is going to happen that's not even part of my plan, and I'm going to go with it, because that's where the magic really lays, as far as being a storyteller and filmmaker. Anyway, my point is that now, with the success of Jack of All Trades on Netflix and on iTunes and everywhere else that it's been, now these broadcasters and streaming services and production companies see that there is an appetite for this type of content about baseball cards.
Yeah.
So, I think we open the door. We're setting it up for these people to be very happy for years to come. I would anticipate there's probably tons of baseball card footage and movies, and who the hell knows? I'm sure there's people already clamoring, "Get me something on baseball cards." It's like I'm sure that's happening. So you're welcome to those people who are mad at me for not having enough baseball cards in the movie. But at the same time, I love the hobby. And the hobby's not dead.
No.
And the hobby's alive and well. And I witnessed it firsthand. I saw it like you did when we went to the National and saw 100,000 people coming through the doors, and no shortage of every walk of life that you can imagine. You had collectors and prospectors and companies and manufacturers and famous celebrities and athletes and podcasters and breakers and everybody all converged with smiles on their face. Everybody seemed to be having the time of their life. It was like WrestleMania for baseball cards.
Well, I've coined. I don't know if I'm the first, but I've coined it, Stu, the Super Bowl of the hobby. It's sort of an event in itself.
I agree.
It's a week long.
Definitely like the Super Bowl, the Oscars, whatever you want to call it. It's like it's the big dance for the hobby, and the fact that I was away from it for 30 years. And and I remember it so vividly as a kid, and it felt like it was so big then. But this has just become like a spectacle. It is a huge sight to be seen, and even if you don't collect baseball cards, you're still going to appreciate it. It's like there's so much going on there, and so many cool things to see. And listen, for somebody that made a movie that's on Netflix that has a baseball card story in it. Going to the National, like, the timing couldn't have been any better. And if I would have gone to the National last year, it wouldn't have been the same. And I was contemplating going to the National last year, and I was contemplating going to the National when we were shooting our movie. It just didn't work out. Yeah. And I'm kind of happy that it didn't work out, because now to go there as like an invited guest and have all these people see our movie and be. It was a really, really cool, special experience that happened this way for a reason. So I don't know what you believe in, but whoever that is, thank that person or that being or that spirit or whatever it is, because good job.
Yeah.
On the National experience. Yeah. It was incredible.
Well, I don't want to get super religious, although I am a person of faith. I believe, like you just said, and you kind of were leaning towards this, I believe everything happens for a reason, and for whatever that reason is, like you said, I think it worked out best case scenario with the timing of things.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure. You were at the show. This was my first, even for me being 30 years involved in the hobby, in the way I am, that was my first National. I had a thought process or an envision in my mind what I thought it was going to be like, and then when you get there, and like you said, just the vastness of it, the size of it, it even exceeded the expectations or what I thought it was going to be like. In my mind, it's just so large, and how many tables, and like you said, the all walks of life that are there, from dealers, collectors, breakers, celebrities, athletes, movie makers. It checked almost. I got to think it checked most of the boxes.
And once my sister, I think my sister was like one of the only females like within like a several table radius wherever she was.
Yeah.
She loved it. I caught her several times. Like, she spent a bunch of money. She was going through dumpster diving into bargain bins. She was buying like the dollar cards like they were going out of style. She she probably came home with more cards.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. She was buying up like 1989 like hoops cards and like weird stuff. But anyway, that's the point. If there's anything you could even think of that you had or wanted to collect or something that reminds you of your childhood, it's there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like even the most obscure thing that only you would remember seeing at a baseball card shop in 1986, it's there. They have it at one of the tables.
Yeah.
It's like, if you want it, it's at the National, and that's the crazy part. Although I will say, I've been putting together a personal collection of wax packs. I have a really cool wax pack collection, and I was thinking of including like a couple packs of 88 score into my collection, and I didn't see that anywhere. That was like, couldn't find my 88 score packs anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. You'd think it'd be there. You know, it's like I said, I was on the Fat Packs podcast with Eric Norton, and he asked me, what do you think of the National, John? And you get a chance to walk around, and I said kind of what you just said. If it's not here, it probably doesn't exist. I mean, there's just everything here, So
and it was also it feels like the other cool thing is that like the part of the hobby that like I was an expert of, like the years that my dad did run a baseball card shop and baseball cards were my life, which I would quantify as like the mid '80s to early '90s. All of that stuff is coming back again in the sense that like our whole generation is all nostalgic for all that crap, and it's great. It's so cool to see all the old school stuff, out on display, for everybody to see. You know what I mean? There's like tables that just had like 1987 Donruss packs or something like that, and that's all they had. It was great.
Yeah, it was eclectic. I mean, from tables that had just had $1,000 cards, 6 showcases worth, and like you just said, even that, as it's been coined, the junk wax era, even just 2-3 tables loaded with that era of stuff. There was something for everyone, whatever niche you're in. If you didn't find something at the show, you didn't look hard enough.
Yeah, I agree.
So I got to take it back to the film. I don't want to harp on that whole last part of the movie, but with your dad, since the movie has been released, can you talk about, has your relationship changed? No, yes.
Not really, actually. Sadly, nothing much has really changed on that front. It's unfortunate. I don't know. You would think that it would, but it didn't. I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
Maybe since that interview, I've probably seen him twice, and like I bumped into him both times.
Mm-hmm.
A couple texts here and there. I don't know. It's like it's not happening. I guess it's just not happening. So I don't know.
Yeah.
He's a complex individual.
Yep.
I don't know if I can really understand why, how, what, but at least I got whatever I got out of him. I don't think there's going to be much more off camera, on camera, or anywhere.
Now, Stu, what was his? Obviously, he knew you were filming. He knew this was probably going to make it into a movie. Obviously, the movie Jack of All Trades has his name in the movie. What was his general feelings about that, if he expressed them?
Well, I mean, when I interviewed him, there was no movie called Jack of All Trades.
Yeah. Okay.
So he didn't know that, and all that. I believe he was under the impression that he was going to be just talking about baseball cards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like what kind of got us in the room together, was to talk about baseball cards. The fact that I decided to go in a different direction, he didn't. He wasn't aware that was going to happen, and I don't think anybody really knew that was going to happen except for maybe me and Harv.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's even seen the movie, man. I don't know. I don't think he's seen the movie because I haven't heard anything like that from him. I know that he's definitely made some like comments and jokes to me about like being quote like the bad guy in the movie, and we had like a little like sort of made some levity or some humor in the situation. I guess we made a little joke. He's like, I'm the bad guy. And, I heard I'm the bad guy in your movie. And I was like, yep, like just you're Jack Vader. And he's like, well, what happens at the end? And I said, you cut my hand off. And then he didn't laugh, so I don't think he got the joke. So I felt like I wasted really good Star Wars humor on him.
I was just saying, maybe he's not a Star
I
Wars
didn't even
fan.
get an LOL out of him for that. So,
Well,
who knows?
You know, like you said, you're not sure he's seen the film, but I gotta think there's probably, you know, people he knows that have seen the film, and maybe that's where.
Oh yeah, no, he's heard about it.
Yeah.
He just doesn't. I don't think he's seen it. I think like once it comes to Canada, you know, he didn't come to any of the screenings. He wasn't. He didn't come to any of the, you know, nothing. He hasn't been a part of it. So, yeah, you know, as far as I know, he hasn't seen it. But I'm sure once it comes out in November and Netflix in Canada, maybe that'll change.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he has a Netflix account, so maybe he doesn't. You know, there's definitely been some like uncomfortable sort of situations that have arisen as a result of the movie getting like sort of a higher profile for sure. You know, like articles coming out in the newspaper and stuff like that, like just, you know, saying shit about my dad, which they obviously got that impression from watching the movie, and you know, I'm sure he's seen that, and it's probably not great. What, I don't know. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like I can't.
I think.
I mean, I've tried everything, man. So it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's really, I don't know. To be continued, I guess. You can ask me again when I come on in 6 months.
Yeah, no problem. I'll definitely love to have you again too. But I'm going to ask this question. I think I kind of know the answer, but it's one of those questions you still have to ask. If had your dad said, "Hey, can you? I don't know what you're planning to do, but the part your videotape with me, I you know, I appreciate it if you didn't put it in anything you were doing." What would have been your reaction or to that?
Well, you know what? I didn't even. I told Adam, who you met, that I wouldn't even go into the room if he hadn't signed his waiver or an appearance release first, or else I'm not even going in the room because I'm not going to go waste my. You know, I'm not going to go in there. I'm almost doing it because it's like we're making this movie, and I thought in the back of my head there's a chance that could happen. So I didn't take that chance. And kudos to Adam, who Adam went in the room before I did and got him to sign a waiver, and then came downstairs to get me, and then I went. Yeah.
So you kind of had those bases kind of covered.
Well, I mean, when you're making a movie, like everybody, it wasn't just that interview. Like anytime we went and interviewed anybody, they signed a release. You know, it's like when we went to Tops, when we went anywhere, it's like anybody we spoke to signed a release. So, you know, that's just kind of what you have to do when you're making a movie. It's like you never know, but you know, everybody's been very cool, and even in the end, you know, I think my dad, he probably. Something about it he probably likes. I don't know. You know, he got a movie with his name in it. Is like some that they didn't speak to for all those years. Like made a movie about him. I'm sure there's something kind of flattering about it. You know, I don't know. I really don't know even what I'm saying right now. But people who are like tuning in to listen to your show about baseball cards are probably like needed to take a Xanax after listening to this.
Yeah, well, no, I think, and this is the beauty of the film too, Stu. I think everyone can look at that last part of the film and relate to it on some level, with whether it's them directly. Or someone they know, or a fellow, you know, someone in their family. I mean, I can.
You have no idea, man. Like, literally every single day, like, multiple people reach out to me daily. I'm talking about daily. Like, I've received messages in the hundreds from people who have said, oh, my father left too, or this happened to me, or that happened to me, that, you know, the movie got them thinking a certain type of way, and it's been really incredible. That's been the most amazing part about this whole thing, for sure, has been that, and knowing that people who have had their own struggles and their own issues with their own stuff, you know, somehow got a little bit of, you know, inspiration from watching the movie, which is, you know, if the movie was just about baseball cards, maybe you don't get that type of impact. So, you know, if it was just about Greg Jeffries rookie cards, I don't know.
Well, I would have liked that, but I was a huge Greg.
I would have too, and that's, you know. By the way, you know it's really fun, not to switch gears, but like the list of people that I reached out to be in the movie that like I couldn't get to be in the movie is like, if they would have all said yes, it would have been like a wet dream for any baseball card person. You know, I like reached out to Todd Van Poppel.
Yeah,
and when I interviewed Canseco, I was planning on having a whole Todd Van Poppel section. So I interviewed Canseco and I had him talking all about Todd Van Poppel. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Billy Ripken, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when I didn't get a chance to speak to Billy, I did get a chance to speak to one of his teammates, Will Clark. I don't know if I've already told you this story before, but
no.
You know, Will Clark sort of like got to the bottom of the whole like what happened with the fuckface card, and you know, I have that footage. I have so much good baseball card footage that I could have cut an entire. I could cut an entirely different movie with just the footage that I didn't use.
Yeah, well,
and
maybe
just as good.
Maybe you answered your own question there. Maybe there's another movie there. What you have there, which I think I know I'm in, and I think based on the success of Jack of All Trades, I think you know, there'll be quite a few other people
I think
on
there's
that
just
band.
there's a whole other you know story to tell now. Like with the breakers, that's such a fascinating thing, and you know the grading stuff, and you know the athletes of today, like signing the cards, and the cards are like it's a whole different world now.
Oh yeah,
than it was.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's cyclic. It changes every year, every couple years. You know, if you kind of get out and for more than 2, 3, 4 years and then come back, you're gonna have to catch up a little bit. While many things remain the same, there's always new wrinkles and that sort of thing. But that's the beauty of the hobby too, in its own right.
You know, the one thing though that I will say that I still think that the hobby still needs to really focus on a little bit more, and one thing that I noticed that there could have been a lot more of at the National was kids. I didn't see a million kids there, and I don't remember seeing a lot of kids there when I was there as a kid either. So I don't think like that necessarily is something that you know maybe that's just how it is there. But you know, I think that you know a lot of these real premium high end products are really really great, but you know like a little kid can't afford even to collect.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like there needs to be some way to try to get kids, and I know that they've tried. When I went to go to Topps, I saw they have a whole like digital media, a whole floor of people working 24 hours a day trying to crack that code of like how to get kids in, and I think that they will solve it. But you know, that's going to be the future right there. You know, like you need kids to be collecting Mike Trout cards now, so that when they're 40, they'll look back and try to find their Mike Trout cards.
Yeah,
that's what you need.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's something that's going to be a mandate. I know Upper Deck does a really great job of getting the kids in with their hockey stuff here in Canada. I see it firsthand. You know, there's like little kids collecting hockey cards all over the place. So, you know, there's stuff that works, and I think that the stuff that works should definitely be, pursued.
Yeah.
So to speak.
No, and I agree with you. If I may, my take on that. Believe it or not, there was probably more kids at the National than I was anticipating, but you're exactly right. They are the future of the hobby. You know, I've been to shows many years ago where there were a lot more kids. I think, you know, the companies have made products, Big League, Opening Day, in Topps' case, but there's room for more improvement. And the other things, too, with some of these kid-designed, if you will, products, they could probably make them a little more exciting, put more stuff in there so those kids get that thrill and that you know, that adrenaline from pulling an auto, a game-used card. I think they can do a little bit more of that. Even in the lower-level products, I know there's money involved and the costs involved, and to make a, you know...
I mean, if you think about it, though, like, you know, when we were collecting as kids, there was no, like, until Upper Deck put that Reggie Jackson card in 1990, there was no autograph cards coming out of packs.
Yeah.
So, you know, there was no insert cards, there was no refractors, there was nothing, and the hobby was as big as it could possibly be. So, you know, I think obviously we've gone, and maybe this is a subject for an upcoming documentary or something, but, you know, we've definitely, you know, gone too far to turn back. You know, once you start autographing cards and putting, like, you know, strands of hair on cards, you can't go back.
Well, and that's the thing, Stu. These kids know about all the autos and game use and patch autos. So if they open a product that doesn't have it, they're not really enticed with it. They kind of a little sour on it. So that's what they want because they know that stuff exists. When, like you bring up, and you're exactly right, that stuff didn't exist, so we weren't expecting it. We expected, rookie cards and some inserts here and there, and
Dude, even like I remember, even not rookie cards that were like still in the showcase at the baseball card shop, like Don Mattingly's second year card.
Yeah.
Like was like. Those were still valuable. Like if you had like, I'm talking about like star player cards. Were still, you wanted them, and now you see people like opening up packs, and if they don't get a thing, they just like throw it out.
Yeah, it was crazy. I walked around the show obviously quite a bit, and almost every trash can. Not that I was garbage, but like right on top, you just look, and there were just cards sitting in there, and I just thought, man, that's. It's sort of sad to see, that people just throw them away, so.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, speaking on behalf of, like, the era that I thrived in, I think it's really a cool time to be in the hobby for sure. Coming back in now is great if you're looking to reconnect with those types of items from that era because everything's pretty affordable. It's probably cheaper now than it was then. And if you want to like build your dream collection that you wanted as a kid, you want your Billy Ripken card, your Canseco's, your Mattingly's, your Strawberries, your Bo Jacksons, you could get them all, and you can make you can build the collection that you always wanted as a kid and not go broke doing it. And I think that's pretty fun.
Yeah, and I think you hit it right on head. That era of the early '80s, even early '90s, that stuff still, like you said, very affordable. You can kind of backtrack, if you will, and fill in the blanks of your collection and that sort of thing. I think, you hit it right on the head. I think there's people doing that, and that's the beauty of it. If the stuff today is maybe out of your price range or you don't have that disposable income like maybe someone else potentially does, you're not shut out. You can kind of go back. And, we're speaking of kids. There's a few kids that I'm aware of that are, even though they weren't around at that time, they're sort of baseball, I don't want to call them historians, but they've kind of done their homework and have kind of gone back and collected some of those cards for the reasons you said. It's obviously more affordable and obtainable now than it was then, even for the younger set.
I mean, I'll tell you what, something interesting was like I have two nephews, obviously, and they're super into collecting as their mom is. But, I think they play a lot of video games, and they play NBA 2K. I'm sure you know the game. Yeah. But because of playing this NBA video game, they learn all the old players because all those players are in the game. So it's like they know who, Larry Johnson is, and they know who Lonzo Mourning is, and they know who these old players are now. And when my sister goes to the bargain bin and is finding like David Robinson rookie cards for $1, like my nephews are like psyched to get those. So I think baseball, now there's a new video game that they're playing with baseball, and I wonder if they do the same thing. But part of that basketball game is when you get points, you get packs of cards, and then you open up the cards and you get. It's like there's a baseball card angle in this basketball game, I'm telling you. Yeah. And I wonder if they do that for this baseball video game too, but whatever it was, it works, and people probably think I'm not speaking English right now, but this NBA 2K basketball game, there's an element to this game where the kids are opening up virtual packs of cards and like building a collection of players, and you can trade players and you can trade the cards. Yeah. It's pretty awesome, man.
And they do it.
I don't know how to play it, but it's definitely getting them super into cards. And
they do it in baseball too, Stu. My son's 19. He's in school now in college, so he's away from home. But even when he was younger, he would play the baseball game on PlayStation, and they have the same thing. You get packs, and they have legends of the game, and
exactly.
Yeah, he's a pretty bright kid, and so he knew a little bit even from what I do. But that aspect of it really brought that to light even more, and he knows a lot of those those Hall of Famers that maybe a 17-year-old, 16-year-old kid at the same stage, maybe not, So, we bag on video games sometimes, but I think there's also a positive element to it. I think you just brought up one of those aspects that we sometimes don't realize, or you do and I do, but maybe some other people don't.
And I think just baseball in general, they added the second wild card.
Yep.
That'll be good. That'll get more kind of markets, sort of like make September a little bit more important in a couple more places now. And, listen, the Blue Jays are like 100 games back now, so baseball is meaningless other than watching Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, they're a little down now, but they got the youth movement coming.
No, they're going to be fine. But there was nothing more exciting than 2015, Jose Bautista bat toss, Blue Jays in the playoffs. There was nothing better than that.
Yeah.
And in 92, 93, I'm old enough to know, remember the back-to-back World Series championships. There was nothing better than that.
Yeah.
So, baseball fever can catch, and just be prepared because it's coming.
Yeah, I think they're moving in the right direction. You can't complain this year. Your basketball team are NBA
we
champ.
won the championship, man.
I got to be honest with you.
Way.
I didn't see that. I'm glad. I was rooting for them. But if gun to my head, I picked the Warriors. I'm glad I was wrong, and really the fashion that the Raps won that in was stunning, and so congrats to all Raptors fans and the Raptors.
They won all their games on the road in the finals.
Yeah,
they did not lose a game in this last basketball season. They were undefeated in Golden State.
Yeah.
In their arena, in the Oracle Arena. They did not lose a game.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
That is.
And the most incredible part is that we're going to repeat again. We're going to go back-to-back. Even without Kawhi Leonard, the Raptors are going to win it again, and you can bank on it.
Yeah, well, I'll say this, Stu.
Not true.
I don't know, but I will say this. With this off season, it's been... it seems like the parody's even better now. Even I'm a Brooklyn Nets guy. They're horrible. But now with them having Kyrie and I know Durant's going to be hurt, if not most of the year, all the year. But even they will be, at least on paper, better. I think there's no, the Warriors got a couple chinks out of their armor, and the Lakers.
No, there's definitely a lot more parity for sure. And even for the Raptors, like we did lose Kawhi Leonard, one of the best players in the league, and that's definitely, the East is even more open than it was now.
Yeah. Well, that's.
The Raptors are still a playoff caliber team, I feel, and I think, if Pascal Siakam can continue to grow into a superstar that we think he can, then maybe the Raptors will still, can win a few rounds. But listen, we were very happy we won a championship. As Canadians, we would have been happy even just being in the championships.
Yeah.
So winning it was really exciting, and we're, thank God for Kawhi Leonard. Even that 1 year, we'll remember for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, can't take that back. No, should you? And as a Nets guy, I was rooting. I was just tired of the Warriors always winning, so I was rooting. Yeah. I was rooting for a team that had never done it. Knowing you, I was rooting on your behalf, and to do it in 5 games like that is I would have lost my house on that one, and.
Well, now we just need the Toronto Maple Leafs to win a Stanley Cup, and then you'll really see what a celebration is. I mean, this is still, at the end of the day, hockey is Canada's passion. I think basketball is creeping into second place now, and if the Leafs can manage to get to a Stanley Cup final, Toronto would be on fire.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I mean that's the beauty of sports. You can be in the outhouse 1 year and the penthouse the following year, and I think that's why people are drawn to it. I love it for that reason. As a Mets fan and a Brooklyn Nets fan and a New York Rangers fan, and Steelers are always usually pretty good. I'm a Steeler fan of football, but I have some teams that. They kind of cyclic. 1 year, a few years they're down, and then
Steelers might be in trouble this year.
I don't know. They're looking good so far, and they got some rookies playing well, but you never know. Preseason's just that. It's not real yet. And
well, you got Marcus Stroman on the Mets, so maybe that'll help.
Yeah, I saw that, and he's been pretty good since we got him. I know. I think you saw his reaction leaving wasn't very good, but
no.
I think
Well, they told him he was getting traded to New York. He probably thought the Yankees.
That's what
then
I
checked. Then he looked down on his ticket and it said Queens.
Yeah.
He was like, "What the?"
Yeah. So it's funny. I think that's what happened. And the funny thing is, I read all the Mets insider stuff, and they were actually, even after they acquired him, they were trying to trade him to the Yankees, but the Yankees wouldn't pony up what they were asking for, so they kept him. So I don't know if I would have had that get out there like that, but they did. So it is what it is.
Either way, good luck.
Yeah.
I'm definitely happy to see the Mets prosper over the Yankees if that's ever possible.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I was a Yankee fan as a very young kid in New York City, and then when Steinbrenner start messing around with everything, that's when I kind of exited stage left there and became a full-time Met fan, and no one can say I got in when the getting was good. I became a Met fan during some really lean times, so I wasn't jumping the bandwagon, as they say. So
you guys almost won it you were a Kansas City Royals team away from winning it a couple years ago.
Yeah, they were sort of a team that just caught lightning in the bottle, and they were hard to beat, and we weren't able to do it. But we were also a team that really wasn't expected to be there either. So someone had to win. Unfortunately, it wasn't the Mets, but it gives you hope when you see a matchup like that, Kansas City and the Mets.
Yeah, you're probably licking your chops.
Yeah,
when you saw Kansas City coming in, you were probably getting the parade planned.
Yeah, no such luck though. So it didn't work out. But that's the beauty of sports. Just just when you think you know it, I'm sure the Warriors thought they were playing in the parade.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they had to put the confetti away. So that's the beauty of sports. So Stu, again, thank you for coming back. It's always great conversation. I'm glad we got to talk a little bit more in depth about the movie and a little more about I know it's not always easy about some of the personal stuff. What do you got? You do, people don't realize, you have 5-7 films, you got other projects, even as popular as Jack of All Trades has become. You got other things you do and are working on. I don't know if you want to share those or any projects.
Yeah, listen, we're going to be starting production on a new film in September. And I'm really excited about that, and it's going to be a little bit different. It's definitely going to be different than Jack of All Trades, but I think that when I have more information on it, I'll be you'll be one of the first people to get the scoop.
Oh,
I'll give you that.
All right, I appreciate that. We'll bring you on. You can say what you're allowed to say, and we'll definitely
perfect.
Get the word out there as much as you can talk about it.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for having me, man. And, if people want to keep up with us, you can obviously watch the movie on Netflix. And if you don't have Netflix, you can get Netflix. You can also watch the movie on iTunes. And it's coming to Canada in November on Netflix as well. We have our social media pages, Jack of All Trades Doc on Instagram, Baseball Card Doc on Twitter. And, give us a follow and obviously keep listening to this show because this show is one of the first to give us love. So we have nothing but love for you and your show, man. So thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. Anytime, Stu. Your door's always open for you.
All right. We'll speak again soon, man. Take care.
All right. You too.
All right.
Hey guys, this is Matt from Firebox Sports Card Cases. In our hobby, there are so many different ways to collect. From group breaks to singles, Hall of Fame vintage to prospect autos. No matter how you collect, you place a premium on your cards. With our durable aluminum frames, precision cut foam inserts, locking closures, and detachable shoulder straps, Firebox will be the only case worthy of your collection. Firebox offers 3 unique cases so you can choose the option that best fits your collecting style. Whether you want the most graded capacity, the versatility to seamlessly switch between raw and graded cards, or hands-free buying, selling, and trading with our first-of-its-kind collector's hardshell backpack, Firebox has a solution for you. There is plenty of fire to pull in today's hobby, but the hobby isn't in the junk era anymore. So why are you still storing your collection in boxes made of junk? Go to fireboxcases.com today and use promo code SCNPOD to get 10% off your order of a premium case to reflect your premium cards. That's fireboxcases.com, promo code SCNPOD to start bringing the heat with you wherever you go.
All right, joining me now on the Sports Card Nation podcast guest line is a gentleman by the name of Richard Black. He hails from Canada, and he makes a product that I am very fond of. Maybe you are already too. And it's perfect fit sleeves. These are sleeves that for all sizes of magnetics, top loaders, graded cards, booklets. He does them all. It's a great product. I've been using for a while. For years. It took many years for someone to come up finally and get it right. And Richard did with these perfect fit sleeves. And I told him I love the product and I'd love to have him on, and he agreed to kind of come on and talk a little bit about himself and his company and the products he provides. So, Richard, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, John. Appreciate it.
So, give for those listening, and I know a little bit about you from talking to you, a little bit, but for those that out there listening to the show, give kind of your background and then kind of how Perfect Fit came about.
Well, it's very interesting, John. I'm actually an entrepreneur, a lifetime entrepreneur, and I've been involved with several businesses and have always been looking for something that I could get my teeth into and really make something out of it. And lo and behold, one of my ventures was buying and selling a hockey card collection, which was kind of fun. Mm-hmm. So it didn't make me a living, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, when I bought these collections, I couldn't believe the condition of the top loaders, mags, what have you, all the cases that people would store their cards in. And I mean, we're talking about these mags that are like $3, $4, $5,
yep.
$6 each, that are totally scratched up, mucked up, and I'm going, holy cow, there's got to be a solution to this. And lo and behold, the idea popped into my head, and Perfect Fit sleeves were born.
Yep, and I tell you, it's a great product. It's crystal clear. Like I said, it's not lip service. I use them. It took me a couple days. I ordered a bunch, and I literally converted from what the old methods I were using to Perfect Fit sleeves. And, I was using the old standard team bag. And like you said, even those team bags, they wrinkle because they don't fit exactly right. They wrinkle, they get kind of crunched up, they scratch. And like you said, sometimes it's even hard to really see the card that's lying below it. And, I can't remember. I want to give credit where credit is due. Someone told me about your product. And man, I've been using these. Check these out, John. I did. I think I ordered a small order first, just to try them out. And I was just, for doing this, 30 years, Richard. It's like, how come this took so long to really happen? I mean, it's just. The name's perfect with Perfect Fit because whatever size you get, it fits right in there. You pull off the adhesive strip, fold it over, and it's a nice, tight, crystal clear fit. It doesn't wrinkle, and it whether you're storing it in a box or putting it in a showcase at a show, it definitely highlights the card below. And like you said, it should. These mags, like you say, cost a few bucks a piece, and they get scratched up so easily without any kind of protection. And it just, I love the Perfect Fit sleeve. So, kind of without giving away the secret sauce, if you will, like how did you get this thing launched? Give us kind of the timeline.
Well, it's interesting again. I was actually at a flea market, and a fellow card seller who was there actually showed me a top loader that he had, and he had it in a bag. It fit the bag perfectly.
Yeah.
So, and this is the first time I'd ever seen this, and I'm not sure where he got the bag, but he showed me that, and that's just exactly where it started. I said, there it is. This is a selling thing. Interestingly enough, though, I also noticed that even these cases that did have sleeves on them, they were, like you said, bulky, too much space involved, side to side. And the one issue that I saw, especially with the thicker cases, was the fact that, the fold over, the flap, when you folded it over, it could easily get caught up and mangled.
Yep.
The way it is, if it's straight. And again, just the idea of cutting that angle off just came to me, and so that when you close those sleeves, it makes it a perfect fit and a clean fit.
Yep, hence the name.
So,
yep.
Exactly.
And you're right. Like I said, I was using the team bags, and you fold them over, like you said, Richard, and they get caught on the card behind it or in front of it. They get wrinkled, and sometimes you take that card out of the box or the case, and it looks like one of those terribly wrinkly shirts that you need to iron, and a shirt you can iron, obviously. That team bag or whatever bag that you're using that gets wrinkly, that's it. You can't fix that until you make a product, as you did, that solves the equation. And you did that. And, a little engineering involved, too, with the angle of the cut on the back to avoid that. And I can tell you, I don't know, I've probably got 1,000 cards in perfect fit sleeves, and they're obviously, a lot of the cards are back to back, and I pull them out, they slide right out. There's no problem, no scratching. They're crystal clear, and there's like a silk. Maybe I'm because I like the product so much. It has like a nice smooth silk finish to it. They're even nice to handle. So I don't mind playing with my cards a little bit more, so to speak. So I mean, it's amazing that it took. I'm glad you invented these. It's just amazing to me that it took that long for someone to finally come along and figure this out, which I think you nailed it. And great products. Kind of talk about all the sizes that you guys carry.
Right. Well, we did start off with the top loader sleeves, or just the regular top loader sleeves. That's how it was all born. And I actually made them for the top loaders, and then at the same time I made them for the thicker top loaders, the 75 to 75 to 125 point cards, and then the 130 to 180 point cards.
Yep.
And I actually had a tri-pack, and I'm sure if any of your listeners are one of my original customers, they will have remembered the tri-pack, which we no longer have because it's very time-consuming putting together combination packs.
Yeah.
But that's where she all started, and then the next step was the no-brainer, and that was the graded cards.
Yeah.
Especially the PSAs, the Beckett's and SGCs, I think they are.
Yep.
And I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, those are encapsulated cards. You don't want to be having those things scratched up.
No.
So that was the following product that we put on board. And then it just grew from there. And now we've got, I don't know, probably 25 different sizes, and always looking at some more.
Yeah.
We're actually going to the bigger sizes, and it steps outside of the card hobby a little bit in the event that they're for postcard slabs. I mean, Beckett and PSA, they have huge cases that they use to encapsulate postcards and index cards that are signed and all that kind of stuff. So we're getting into that. Those are a little harder to manufacture because they're larger, so that they're harder to to handle. But hey, that's business.
Yeah. Well, there's a hurdle. You gotta, like they say, either run through it or jump over it. But you figure it out somehow. The other thought that came to my mind when we were just talking about this is and they're both niche hobbies that are always kind of aligned somewhat together, is even the comic book industry with the sleeves that those are bagged in as well with the backer boards. Is that something you've had your eye on at all, or did I just?
Well, the graded card slabs, we've considered that. We actually did the 8x10 top loaders at one point. They weren't big sellers, and so they're sort of on the backboard now, or the back burner, so to speak.
Yep.
And as far as the graded comic book one, I'm sure that would be a good seller. I just have to get a hold of a graded comic book.
Yeah.
So that's all that takes. But
yeah.
And I've been attempting to do that. I try to get one at a reasonable price. But if you get a graded comic, it could cost you like $100 plus. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No, go ahead.
See. No, I said we'll see if if I can get one of those. That might come on board. I actually tried looked at even some protective sleeves for the whole different hobby altogether, and that is the gaming, or the what do you call it, Nintendo cases, or
the Switch.
No, the Nintendo games. The hard games.
Oh, okay. You're saying like the originals.
Yeah, just video games. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Or video games, or
yeah, and
that's a harder plastic, so it's a different field altogether. But I branched out a little bit in that, but backed off for a while.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point with some of these things. Brought up graded cards. Obviously, I mean, 9 out of 10 times if a card's graded, it's graded mostly for a reason. There's some intrinsic value, and the people who are getting their cards graded are obviously paying a premium to have them slabbed and graded as such. And you don't want that slab to get scratched up, because once that slab gets scratched up, you can't. It's not like a car. Maybe you can buff it out or get a scratch remover. That's kind of in the case, and if it's in a bad spot, like right on the front of the slab, it's going to affect the vision or being able to see the card, and so the perfect fit sleeves prevent that, obviously, from occurring, and protect the integrity of the graded slab, which is obviously what you want to do if you had the card graded to begin with. So it really does what it's supposed to do, and then some. Like I said, I'm not having you on because I've never used the product. This is coming from someone who's I really converted, I converted over everything I had from team bags that were obviously not fitting well to the perfect fit sleeves, and I'll never go back. It's just no way you can once you switch over, once you see the difference, you just, you're like, I'll never do that again, type of thing, and so you got great products. I'm sure there's people listening right now like myself that are already using them. I'm hoping there's some people, maybe this is for whatever reason, this is the first they're hearing of them. I suggest even if you buy a package or two just to see what they're all about. I'm sure that's what I did, and 1,000 sleeves later, all my stuff is in perfect fit sleeves now. So I'm sure that would occur. That they sell themselves just on what on their function and what they do, and no sleeve that I'm aware of or have ever used prior has even come close. There's really no close second that I'm aware of. You guys, to me, are the leader in the clubhouse, and it's not even close. So for those that are wondering about it, grab a pack of 2, see what they're all about, and I'm pretty safe bet that you'll be purchasing more and maybe converting your collections right over to it.
Well, just a addition to what you just said, I'll let everybody know that the PSA sleeves are our number 1 seller, and I mean we sell literally hundreds and hundreds of packs a month. And as far as I know, PSA actually grades almost 1 million cards a year.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to supplying everyone with the perfect fit sleeves for their PSAs. That kit comes in a very distant second. But actually the regular top loader sleeves are our number 2 seller. And that was our original one that we developed, and which is kind of neat because for the longest time it wasn't.
Yeah.
It actually moves quite slowly, but recently it's been moving very nicely. And the other thing was I have many customers who, like yourself, have taken it upon themselves to get the perfect fit sleeves to re-sleeve their whole collections, and I'm very honored that our sleeves were able to convince them that this is something that can be done and should be done.
Oh, yeah.
Just make their collections more presentable and more joyful to look at.
Yeah, no doubt. As someone who did that, Richard, I'm glad I did. If I have only one complaint, it probably took me 6 to 8 hours over the course of 2 to 3 days. But that's a testament to how important it is and how worth it is to do that. It was worth that time investment for the clarity of the sleeve and the fit. And, as someone who does shows like I do anywhere from 4 to 6 a year. Just the presentation of those cards in the showcase. And I've had people ask me, man, this sleeve I've never seen this before. What is it? And I've told them where to find you. So, hopefully that's obviously helped some business. And like I said, in using the product, it's just once you see it and utilize it and see it for yourself, there really is no other alternative to it. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad you made them, so I can utilize them. And you're in Canada. I guess one of the questions I have for you is, and I don't know if you can answer it, but I'll ask you anyway. Like your percentage of your business, is it 50-50? Is it more on the U.S. side? How would you break down like where your purchases are?
This is the exciting thing is that it's actually about 95% the great nation of the United States that are my customers.
Yeah.
And the other 5% to 8% is everybody else in the world.
Yeah.
And I'll let you know why in Canada it's a bit of a drawback, is the sense that our postage is not the greatest in price, so it makes it very costly for my fellow Canadians to get my sleeves at a reasonable price.
Yeah.
But because I'm in British Columbia and I am close to the border, I have a way that I can utilize USPS, thus giving all the American customers the valued USPS postal service to get their sleeves, and it's been a real plus. Like you say, how come it took so long for everything to come together? Well, everything has timing, and I guess this was just the time.
Yeah.
And everything sort of came together. A lot of good things come out of Canada, believe it or not.
Yep. No. I wasn't insinuating the otherwise.
And I wasn't saying you were. But I just thought I'd run that by. did you want me to give like how people can get?
No doubt. I just I raved on numerous rants how great the product is. No doubt. Let the listeners know. You've agreed to kind of come on at least on a trial run and sponsor the show. No doubt. Let those listeners out there. I swear by the product, so let them know how they can get their hands on them as well.
Okay, well, everyone, my website is www.perfectfitsleeves.com. Very easy to find, and you can even Google Perfect Fit Sleeves, and I'll be number one.
Yep.
Also on eBay, if you're more of an eBay purchaser, my username is Richie with a Y, RICHY 707, and you'll see I'll have 100% feedback there, well over 5,000 feedbacks. So you'll be confident knowing that you can purchase from either one, and we'll be glad to have you as a customer.
Yep, and again, great products, and like you said, you got kind of both bases covered. If someone's not on eBay, you can satisfy them, and if someone's on eBay, maybe they want to just use their eBay bucks they've saved up and grab what they need. It's Richie 707, RICHY 707. Like Perfect Fit Sleeves, you got a perfect feedback, you said. So you must be doing something right. You got no complaints, and you got no complaints from me, that's for sure. So I love the sleeves. There's no other alternative for me. And I've had a lot of guests on the show, Richard, and I got to be honest with you, not a lot in the manufacturing end. But that's how good this product is, that I definitely wanted, fellow collectors and hobbyists that maybe don't know about the product yet. It's way overdue if they don't know about it, and I wanted you to get the word out for sure.
And I appreciate the opportunity to share with your listeners. And I hope all your listeners have a wonderful day. And our motto is keep the hobby fun.
Yep.
There you go.
I agree with you. And, and if anyone's listening out there that have already are using Perfect Fit Sleeves, give us some feedback. Let us know what you think. I'm sure it's going to be good. Like I said, I've got 30 plus years in the hobby, and this to me is the first product that really checks all the boxes. There's been other ones that maybe do one thing good, and then there's that trade-off, like it kind of falls short on this side of things. This one, it, like the name, it perfectly fits and does the trick, and they keep your prized possessions crystal clear for you and others to enjoy. So, Richard, thanks for taking some time out of your day and talking to us and letting people know about your great product.
Well, thank you for having me, John. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Are you tired of that standard annoying team bag? You know, the ones that get wrinkly, baggy, scratched up, and cloudy where you can't even see your prized cards anymore? I was too, until I found the answer. And that answer is crystal clear. Perfect Fit Sleeves. These sleeves are water clear and smooth as silk, and are what collectors are waiting for way too long. The solution comes in every size, from the smallest to the largest, including thick magnetics and graded cards. I use them. I swear by them. Find yours today at www.perfectfitsleeves.com or go to eBay and search seller Richie707, RICHY 707. You can thank me later.
We love our listeners. Without you, there is no us. We care about your opinions and feedback and invite you to reach out to us on any of our social media accounts. On Instagram at Sports Card Nation Podcast, Twitter at SportsCardNati1, or email the show at sportscardnationpc@gmail.com. We don't ask for much, but if you really like the show, give us a shout out. Tell your friends or give us a follow on our social medias. If you enjoyed the show, please give us a positive review on iTunes or any of the platforms you are listening on. Thank you.
It's time for From the Box Seat. Let's go to the world of sports here and From the Box Seats. Cam Newton has went down here in the preseason with a leg injury. Very early, too early, in fact, to tell how serious of an injury it is, but those in the Panthers camp and fans have noticed that Will Grier, the supposed heir apparent, has played fairly well here in the preseason. There are many that believe, as crazy as it sounds, he may be the better option today. I don't know if I would go that far. I do like Will Grier. I did get to see him firsthand, being an SU fan, Syracuse University in the ACC, and my son's a big Will Grier fan, so just on that alone, I tended to follow him and watch him play. I thought he got drafted lower than he should, and I believe the Panthers got a diamond in the rough. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. There are many that are even saying, besides injury, Will Grier should sooner, maybe rather than later, be the guy under center for the Panthers. So this will be interesting and probably fun to watch, even though I'm not a Panthers fan. So we'll have to keep tabs on that situation. Another veteran in the news, Zeke Elliott, wants to be the highest paid running back. He's having fun in Cabo, Mexico, while his teammates are working through preseason and training camp. And they've both kind of taken some shots at each other. Jerry Jones with the, who's Zeke line that sort of apparently ruffled feathers of Zeke and his agent. And now reports are coming out that the Cowboys have offered Zeke a contract that would make him the second highest paid running back in the NFL. So the ball's now in Zeke's court. We'll see what his response is. Does this turn into a holdout, much like the Le'Veon Bell Steelers situation last year? I don't know. I'm going to say no, but who's going to blink here? Is it going to be Zeke and take second highest money, or is Jerry Jones going to say screw it and make him the highest paid running back in the league? I personally wouldn't do that, but my name's also not Jerry Jones, so we'll see how that winds up working out. Staying with the Cowboys, I think I may have mentioned this on the last episode, but I'll mention it again. Another person of interest on that team, Dak Prescott, has apparently rejected a $30 million contract offer. He wants $40 million. I am not a Dak Prescott fan, and it has nothing to do with the auto pen incident. I just don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a good, I don't even know if I'd say very good, as crazy as that sounds. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't know if he's a guy that can lead that team to the promised land. And he's definitely not even to me worth the $30 million. When I saw that and saw where that ranks him to other guys and puts him ahead of, it would put him ahead of a lot of guys that I think are better quarterbacks than Dak Prescott even is. So Dallas has got some money decisions to make and see who they want to pay and who they don't, and whether this becomes a holdout situation in Zeke's matter. We'll have to watch and see how that plays out. Jerry and the Cowboys front office think this team is ready to compete, even though most people pick the Eagles to win that division. Let's talk about some rookie quarterbacks that are playing well. If you've heard the show, you know I'm not very big on Daniel Jones. I thought the Giants made a brutal, fatal blunder and taking him number 6. It is just the preseason. You should take it with a grain of salt. But I'll have to give credit where credit's due. Daniel Jones looks pretty good in the preseason. He's getting rave reviews in camp. And again, another situation where many believe that Daniel Jones should start over the incumbent, Eli Manning. Kind of like the Will Grier, Cam Newton situation. So there's a lot of people in the NFL that kind of go with or believe in the youth movement at the quarterback position. Well, I don't know if I'd go that far. As a football fan, you got to remember these preseason stats can be deceiving. They're playing against a lot of second and third units potentially, and even when the first units are out there, they may not be a full-fledged 11 first unit guys. So those numbers can be skewed, if you will. But you got to give credit where credit's due. He is playing well. I did watch some of the Giants games, and I got to be honest with you, he did better than I anticipated or pegged him for. But again, very early, jury's still out. I'll be more convinced when you do it in real time. Let's head to baseball. You got a new NL record holder for home runs by a rookie. He has beaten Cody Bellinger's previous record of 39 when he hit his 40th, and that's Mr. Pete Alonso, almost single-handedly carrying the Mets back into contention. And, now the next record he can set his sights on would be the all-time rookie home run record, which was set by Mark McGwire in 1987 with 49 home runs. I'm not sure he gets there. I think he's going to, pitchers are going to start pitching him more select and maybe walk him a little bit more. But as a Met fan, it's fun to watch. I'm hoping he gets that record, obviously. And if they're not going to make the playoffs, you might as well build for the future. So he's a fun guy to watch. I'll be honest with you. I knew he was going to be decent, but I did not know anywhere near this level that he was capable of the things he's doing. So pleasantly surprised. Hoping we can keep building him. Jeff McNeil, Conforto, keep some of the pitching intact. And this team is maybe a player or two away from making a serious run. There's some that think they're ready now. I'm not going to go that far. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not a huge Mickey Callaway guy on top of all that. But again, they're my team. I root for them, and Pete Alonso's been one of the biggest surprises in 2019. Well, that does it for episode 39. Great episode. I want to thank both my Canadian friends for joining us today. Stu Stone, great that the movie is doing well. It's going to be in Netflix in Canada here in November, and I'm sure it'll get another boost, another push, and go even further. So always great when he's on. Thanks to Richard Black for joining us today, telling us about Perfect Fit Sleeves, our new sponsor as well. And folks, in all seriousness, if you haven't used these sleeves or seen these sleeves, purchase a pack or two, try them out, give them a run. I think you're going to be ecstatic with them. Like I said, that's exactly what I did. I didn't jump in head first. I grabbed a couple packs, assessed what I thought about them. When I loved them, I converted all my inventory over to them, and I think you'll wind up doing the same thing. Great product. So happy to have them on board. I'm sure they'll get a boost from being on board, and we're glad to have them. Again, as always, we got some more great guests coming on future episodes. That should never change as we go out there and pound the pavement, so to speak, to get these folks on the program for you. We currently have a contest going on right now, a giveaway, I should say. We're giving away the Panini Instant Zion Williamson first card rookie and $10. to win it, to get it. All you have to do is find that tweet on our social media, on Twitter, retweet it. In that tweet is our link for our new YouTube video account. We got a new YouTube video account. I know I have a face for podcasting / radio, but I'm trying to break the internet, so we started a YouTube account. Find that tweet, retweet it, go to the YouTube link, subscribe, and you're entered. That's it. It's as easy as that. Probably going to run it for a week or two. After that, I'll put everyone that does that on the randomizer list. We'll randomize it. I'm actually going to pick 2 winners. The first winner is going to receive the Zion Williamson card and $10 cash. And the second place person is going to get a mystery prize pack of some cards and who knows what else. Might be another surprise or two in there. And we're going to try to do more giveaways again and again be more interactive as we always usually are. So again, we're trying to give something away, if not every week, maybe every other week on our social media accounts or on the show itself. Like I said, episode 50 is getting closer. We can kind of see it now in the rearview mirror. For episode 50, I plan on giving away a $50 bill. And thinking way ahead down the line for episode 100, I'm planning on giving away a $100 bill and hopefully some other stuff as well as we hit some of these show milestones. It's a way of saying thank you for being with us. Thank you for giving us a little of your daily time, some time out of your day each and every week. And that doesn't go unnoticed. And I try to keep it modest. Some days I do that better than others, but where the show is today is absolutely, I can't stress it enough. It's amazing how the show has grown from a little show with some listens and now into the 4-figure listens with ease every week. We've got great guests, great sponsors, great listeners, and like the commercial I run says, without you, there's no us. And it's so true. If no one listens to the show, which thankfully the opposite is so true, but if no one listened, what would we be doing? Talking to ourselves. And as much as that might be fun for me for a little bit, eventually I'd get bored listening to myself talk. So thank you for being out there. Thanks for giving us some time wherever it might be, the office, the car, wherever, your headphones. We appreciate it. Not a day goes by, not an episode goes by where we don't acknowledge that and say thanks for that. So with that being said, that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to let my buddy Sparty Hawk Cash take us out on our new outro, if you will. So Marlon, get us out of here.
Cougar. That's a cougar.
You've been listening to the Sports Card Nation podcast. Join host John Newman next week as he gives you another jam-packed episode of all things related to the sports card hobby. And a little extra fun, too. Don't forget to check out the show on Instagram at Sports Card Nation Podcast.